So why would you combine a Bruckner Mass with music written only a few years ago? Because the 34-year-old New York-based English-born composer Tariq O'Regan has several things in common with Bruckner. He has written some deeply spiritual music to religious texts in the first part. His triptych was composed for the Choir of London to sing on a tour to Jerusalem and the West Bank in 2004, just a few years ago. It includes texts from Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Zoroastrian sources, as well as secular poetry by people like Wordsworth, Blake, Milton, Hardy, and even our own William Penn. In addition, some of the ways that O'Regan writes musical counterpoint are similar to Bruckner. O'Regan often uses the repetition of short melodies layered on top of each other, as well as on top of a repeated rhythmic material in the orchestra. This tends to create an accumulation of rhythmic energy similar to the kind of energy that's typical of rituals or liturgies where the music tries to get our minds off of our present day troubles and obsessions and into the mind of the Spirit. Listen first to the way Bruckner sets the words for the Christe eleison, Christ have mercy, in his Mass, using overlapping melodies that grow in intensity and then subside. Sets the words of William Blake. To see a world in a grain of sand and heaven in a wildflower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. First, he has the sopranos and altos sing without words a simple melody. Over and over. Out of this, the singers gradually begin to sing the words themselves in a different rhythmic sequence. To see a world in a grain of sand. The accumulation of this repetitive motion again creates a sound world in which we can imagine infinity in the palm of our hand. of the ways that we're going to make the Bruckner and the O'Regan even more complementary to each other is by interleaving the movements, that is, alternating them like pages in a book. This is very much like the way a liturgical Mass would be set in that, or performed, in that the ordinary parts of the Mass, the Kyrie, the Gloria, the Credo, the Benedictus, and the Agnus Dei would be sung throughout the course of the Mass, and in between them will be sung other pieces of music setting texts that are particular for that particular day. Of course, this is a concert situation, not a worship service, and yet it creates a special kind of atmosphere where people can enter in and respond to the text from whatever tradition or at whatever level they want to. And so we wanted to create an atmosphere like that, to not have applause between the movements, just to allow the silence to speak, applause only at the end of each half, and to alternate the movements of the Bruckner with the movements of the O'Regan. Now in this excerpt from the slow movement, here again he uses repetition. You won't be able to quite hear that in this example because we don't have our soloist with us yet. One of the reasons we're very excited about this performance is that we will be featuring a soloist from one of our high schools who was auditioned along with several others from area high schools. This is junior Anjali Bhatt from Central Bucks East High School, where Scott Teschner is her choir director. She has a beautiful voice, very expressive young singer, and she will sing a melody that's a setting of a text written by someone named Rabbi Roland Gittleson, who is best known for having written the memorial words that are on the Iwo Jima monument. These are words he wrote for the liturgical setting for Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, as we remember them. In the rising of the sun and its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of the winter, we remember them. And there again, there's this litany of different remembrance texts. And for this, O'Regan has a melody that runs throughout. In the rising of the sun and at its going down. And you'll hear that in this section that the choir is working on, interspersed in the midst of a richer harmony and counterpoint. This introduction with a brief clip from our rehearsal of the third movement of O'Regan's triptych. This time it's a challenging but mesmerizing setting of the mystic Sufi text, "So why then should I be afraid? I shall die once again to rise an angel blessed." We hope you'll join us on March 25th.
Right at top of 38 last bar, where their spirit departs. Sopranos did a very, and altos did a very nice job with that. Thank you.